Now that we've set up the project, we can draw our spaces. I would strongly recommend working on one space at a time. That means one IES file for each space. This makes troubleshooting much easier, as you could end up with one issue that affects your entire file and could force you to start over. So restarting one space is better than the entire project. When you begin drawing your space, you have the option to import CAD files directly into Model It. Let's go to Model It on the top to the XF files, attach the XF file, and select your CAD file. This allows you to use the architectural model as a background to trace over it directly. Now, for starting from scratch, I prefer to draw construction lines first. It not only helps with more complex geometries, but if you make a mistake and are forced to delete your space, you can just trace over the construction lines instead of having to remeasure. So let's, in our case, just draw a simple box space. And we'll begin with drawing a 4x2 construction line. Once you're done, click on Escape to stop, and up here you have a few options to draw your space. The two main ones are Draw Extruded Shape and Draw Prism. Draw Extruded Shape if you want to draw complex geometries, and it's the one you'll likely be using for most of your spaces. If you want to undo as you're drawing, just click on Escape, and for our case we could just use the Draw Prism for a simple rectangular space. The Shape Settings dialog box will appear. Here you can assign a space name, and down here is your space type. Here you can assign plenums or voids that act as a condition space. We'll keep it as a room, and the plan or elevation as 0. For the height, we want to include the ceiling, as we'll assign a ceiling height once we draw the space. And down here is the Building Template Manager, which we'll go over later on. Once we draw our space, we can close the dialog box and click on Axonometric View. Now to add the ceiling and floor, we can assign the ceiling as a return plenum or a void. We can leave it as a void, and this has the ceiling act as a condition space. We will do the same for the floor. Alternatively, you can omit the ceiling, and the top of the space would be considered as a roof. Now we can see our space is split. We can uncheck to hide the ceiling and the floor so we could work on the room. Let's add the windows and doors, and you could do this from the 3 options on top. You could add windows, doors, and holes. The hole is particularly useful if you want to add a skylight. If you click on Add Windows, you'll be given the option to change the elevation, the width, and the height. Once you're done adjusting the numbers, hover over your space, and a preview of where the window will be placed will show. Just click, and the window will be automatically placed. Same idea goes for the door. You could draw sections in your Revit model to get an exact dimension of your doors and windows. And if you have different types, you could go up here, change to a double door, right, left open door, and you have a few options with a preview on the right so you could see where you're placing. Now, if we want to make any modifications, we'll need to go down into the space level so we can edit the elements. Click on the space, and then the Move Down one level option from the top panel here. And on the left, you can see a breakdown of the space with the walls and openings that we just placed. Click on the wall or elements you want to modify, and either double click on it in the axonometric view, or the Move Down one level button again. This will take you into a front-facing view, where you can draw construction lines, and you can select your window to move it, size it, scale, merge, or copy. So if you do the scale option, you could half it by doing 0.5. We can move it using the Move Select tool, and we can copy it as well. If you want to be more precise, we could change the grid settings at any time. And those are the basics for drawing your geometry in Model It.